Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of How to Play Minecraft Survival 1.18 edition. And as the sun goes down behind us, a small recap. Last time we went through these caves behind us and we found ourselves this nice iron armor, these nice iron tools. And before we get started in this episode, I'm going to do that same thing I did last time and cut down that entire island of trees behind us just so we can go get ready for our exploring episode today. See you guys in a minute. Well, I cut that whole island down, and I've been doing so much in between when I did that and where we are right now. It's almost fully grown again. Now, I am getting prepared for exploring today. We are going to explore more of this world. Why? Why explore? I'm happy here. I've got a house. I've got storage. I got animals. We went caving. I'm done, right? Wrong. So the reason you go exploring, one of the main reasons that I do, is for other materials, mainly wood. Now, this is not going to be our forever place. This is kind of going to be our starter area. We might add a little bit better farms and etc. etc. But what we're really looking for is something called dark oak. And now dark oak is only found in a biome called a dark forest. Now, you remember the F3 screen from last episode. This comes into play here as well. So let's see here. Over on the left side, once again, we've got biome. We are in Minecraft Snowy Plains. Now, dark oak forests, excuse me, I believe they're... I'm going to watch them as I kind of explain this. Now, dark oak, as I was saying, only spawns in dark forest biomes. Now, if I do, and this is the first time we are going to be using the chat part of this game, if I type in T on my keyboard, we pull up the chat area. Now, if I do / locate biome here, right, you can only do this if you have commands enabled. This will show every single biome in the game. It goes all the way from B to W, and there are a lot. The end, the void, we got warm motions, taigas, we got soul sand valleys, etc., etc. Now, what we are looking for, like I said, is a dark forest. Now, I can type all that in, or when I have it selected, I can hit the tab key, and that will type it in for me. Now, if I were to hit enter, it would tell me the coordinates of a dark forest biome. I'm sorry, it would tell me the coordinates of the nearest dark forest biome, okay? There's other ways that you can find biomes in your world as well. You can use third-party seed generators, I guess, websites that will, you type your seed into, and again, if we hit T, and we do that / and we hit seed, this is the seed that we're using right now. Now, if I hit T and click on that, it will actually copy it, and I can go ahead into a third-party website and paste it into the seed section, and it would show me all the different biomes that would spawn in my world. Now, those are two different ways to find things that you're looking for. One of the other ways is to just do some good old-fashioned exploring. Pick a direction, hit F3, we can go south, and just go between 1 to 5,000 blocks, right? So if I were to take from the center camp, which I'm going to call this campfire, the center of camp, and I were to just start going this way, I would go until we reach negative about 5,200 on the Z, right? We just keep going and going and going. Whoa, now, before we do that, we have a couple of things we need to do. First of all, we need to make sure that we're well equipped. We've got our armor on, that's great. We've got our tools, that's fantastic, but we can't just have these tools. We need to have backup tools, all right? So I've gone ahead and I've made myself some backup pickaxes, axes. I haven't made a backup shovel because we're probably not going to need it. And I've also got some logs and some dirt. And for those of you who have some keen eyes, we also have this here. Now, this was made from us chopping down that island over there, all right? And one of the most important things to do when you're exploring is to not get lost, right? So we can do like we've been talking about before. I can stand right here and write down the coordinates, which are 187, 69, negative 251, right? And I can write those down in a notebook, and that's how I know to get home. Now, there's a couple of other things you can do, actually, to find your way back. And what that would be is to find a block that doesn't really look natural or doesn't look like it should be in this biome, like, right? So for this area, golly, I guess oak would be probably one of the best things. And you can use what's called a scumpus. So if we start to wander out this way, and now we've gone so far that it's kind of hard to tell if where camp is, right? So when we find a high area, what we can do is place down a block that doesn't really belong and put torches to the direction of where camp is, right? Now, camp is in that direction, right? It's not in this direction or this direction. So we put 2 torches down to say camp is diagonally that way, all right? If camp was in a downwards direction, right, you would go ahead and put a block here up in the air and put a torch underneath it. That denotes that you need to go down. If our home was up this hill, what we would do is put a block down and then a torch on top of it, and that would denote that we have to go up. You could also put a torch in the side here. Kind of self-explanatory. If we need to go up, it's kind of only one direction. But that is a scumpus. You find a block that doesn't belong in the biome that you're in, place it down, and put a torch in the direction of where you should be going, right? So I should go this way to go back home. Now, because I'm dramatic, I want to use something a little bit different to find our way home. And for that, we're going to need a new tool block, okay? And this is called the stone cutter. Now, the stone cutter is 3 pieces of stone with an iron ingot. Make sure it's stone, all right? You're going to have to burn up some cobblestone in a furnace to get that. And we go ahead and place this stone cutter down here, right? When you right click on it, what it does is it allows you to take stone, cobblestone, even diorite and granite and andesite, and change them into different blocks, okay? Now, if I pick this cobblestone up and I right click here, you'll see that I can turn this one piece of cobblestone into various different things, right? We have a cobblestone wall, we have stairs, or we can get 2 slabs, all right? And this is a little bit different way of making those items than in the crafting bench. And the reason that this is important is, as you can see, it's kind of a 1-to-1 here. It takes 6 cobblestone to get 6 walls, or 1 cobblestone for 1 wall, which obviously means if I put 6 in here, that's 9. I would get 9, but you know what I mean. It's a 1-to-1. If we do 1 cobblestone here, we get 2 slabs. Whereas over here, if we do 3 cobblestone, we'll get 6 slabs. So it balances out there. Where it doesn't is with stairs, right? So if we use 6 pieces of cobblestone, we would only get 4 cobblestone stairs if we use the crafting bench, whereas we can use 1 piece of cobblestone and get 1 cobblestone stair out of it. So the stone cutter is a really great block when you get your iron and you have enough, and you also get some stone there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to put it kind of unceremoniously right on top of this block here. And what we're going to do is we're going to make ourselves a ton of cobblestone walls, and also I think some cobblestone slabs as well. Now, I probably don't have enough materials here, and this is completely unnecessary and way over the top, but I'm going to go ahead and use all that material there to make ourselves 64 campfires. And what I've gotten all this stuff for is I am going to make ourselves little waystones, right? So essentially what we're going to do here is we're going to put a campfire on top of a, sort of on top of a totem pole, I guess. I'm going to need an extra block to jump up on here. And then after we get that campfire up there, we'll just grab some spruce trap doors, and we're going to put those around the side here. Now, trapdoors you can put on the side, the top, the bottom of blocks, and you can actually open and close them just by right-clicking on them. And what this does is it acts as a kind of beacon, right? So we know where, if we see it off in the distance, we know, hey, we have to go that way to find our way back home, right? It doesn't really work so well in the fact that it actually points us in a direction, and in this environment, we kind of lose it a little bit. But I really kind of like the way it works. Instead of just, you know, putting random blocks all over our world, we can just use these campfires here, and we get that nice smoke effect too. And because I have my render distance up so high, I can actually see this from a very, very far way away. Now, I know we've already been in this location, but I think I want to put one over here as well, kind of on the edge of this this little beach. because we're starting to get a little too far away from that guy. But what I'm thinking is, I don't know, a couple hundred blocks or 100 blocks or so, we'll just throw one of these guys down in an open, hopefully in a high up location, just so we can easily find our way back to base as we're exploring. Now, once again, this is completely unnecessary. You do not have to do this. I want to do this as kind of a way to, I don't know, add a little story to our world, right? Just a little bit of a little extra flair as opposed to just throwing a torch down somewhere. Now, where it's going to get kind of weird is when we start to get into forests and the like, because we're going to lose these things pretty easily in the thick forest like this, right? So we're going to have to really be strategic on where we place this in these types of environments. Let's get back to the why. Why are we doing this anyways? What are we exploring for? What is our purpose in exploring? I think our purpose here, for me anyways, is, like I said, finding new blocks to build with is always important to me. I like having different textures in builds, etc. The other thing is, just like that village that we found a few episodes ago, we can use this opportunity to find ourselves some other generated structures, right? Some other new things that Minecraft has to offer us. I'm actually going to jump on top of this here. And we can find other things like desert temples or, you know, oceans and ocean temples, ocean monuments, etc., etc. Things that have new challenges. Of course it's raining. New challenges and things to explore, new items, things that you can only find in like treasure chests, etc., etc. So that's kind of my reason for exploring, is new blocks as well as, you know, treasures and adventure, etc. My other big reason for exploring is I really just like to look at Minecraft's generation. I think it's absolutely beautiful, and especially when 1.18 hit, the new mountains are breathtaking, and I wanna see what's out here. And speaking of seeing what's out there, here we have ourselves a ruined portal. Now, ruined portals will show up anywhere in the overworld and also in the nether. Now, this is called netherrack here that we're standing on. This spawns pretty much everywhere in the nether. It practically replaces almost all of the dirt and stone that you would normally see in the overworld. The nether is just covered in this junk. Now, ruined portals kind of give you your first taste of how you should make what's called a nether portal, and we'll get to that in a future episode, right? We have an almost completed portal here. It kind of tells you, you know, you need to just build a rectangle, right? So this is obsidian, okay? The only way to get this is by using a diamond or better pickaxe. You pick this up from, but again, we'll get to that later. Anyways, so we aren't going to be able to pick this block up, and it takes forever to break, right? I mean, I could just stand here and do this, and even if I did go all the way through it, it still wouldn't break and drop an item. Now, we need 3 pieces of obsidian. We need 1, 2, and 3. And then once we have that, right here, you can see I have a flint and steel. We just light a fire in the center of this portal, and it will turn on. And then we can jump into it and wait a few seconds. Our screen will go all wobbly, and then we'll be in the nether, right? So these portals were kind of put in the game sort of just to tell you how to actually get to the nether, because there's no instructions for this game, right? And they also generate with some loot, okay? So here we have our first Enchanted Gear. We also have a fire charge, which we'll get to in a bit. Now, Enchanted Gear, again, is a future episode. You can put things on tools and iron, like this helmet here has blast protection, right? So not only does it give you +2 armor, if an explosion happens nearby you, because we have blast protection 4 on this helmet, you will take less damage from the blast than you normally would, okay? And this gold shovel has fortune on it. Now, really the only time that fortune and a shovel comes in handy, and there's not going to be any around here, is with this stuff here, gravel. Now, gravel has a chance when you break it to turn into a piece of flint, okay? And fortune, what it does is it has a chance, it increases a chance, there we go, for gravel to not drop the gravel block, but to actually drop flint instead. Now, if you put fortune 3, which is the highest level of fortune that you can get on a shovel, you will always 100% get flint from breaking gravel with that shovel. And you can put Fortune 3 on a pickaxe, which is probably one of the best uses for it. You can also put it on an axe. That works as well. You can't put it on a sword. You can also put it on a hoe. And Fortune on a hoe is really great because you can get saplings from leaf blocks very, very quickly with a Fortune hoe. Now I'm going to go ahead and break these gold blocks and pick them up. Did that one drop? No, it did not. And then we can go on our merry way and keep exploring and see what's around. And ahoy, mateys, here's something. This is a shipwreck. Now, shipwrecks were added in the update Aquatic, and they have a ton of stuff in them. And this one seems to be completely sealed up here. We're going to have to break into it with our axe. Now, as you can see, there's just so much wood. Oh, we got an opening right in here. Perfect. So much wood. So if you find one of these early on, look at all that loot. Early on in your survival career, you can just tear down the whole ship, and here's all the wood you're going to need for a long time. Now, most of the time, shipwrecks spawn with a chest that has what's called a buried treasure map in them, and that's really the biggest reason to find shipwrecks and explore them, is that buried treasure map can have, oh geez, so many good things in it. Diamonds and TNT and just so much useful resources in it. And it looks like, unfortunately, we weren't as lucky in this shipwreck. It did not give us a buried treasure map section of the ship. It might be buried under the sand here somewhere. We can keep digging and try and look for it, but I don't think we're gonna find another chest here. No, folks, I'm going to cut my losses and say there is no buried treasure map in this one, which is unfortunate. That would have been great to show off and find. Now, we appear to be plagued with snow in this in this world here, but, oh, there's another portal over there. Great, we'll have to go check that out. We do have our first bit of 118 terrain over here, and also an ice spikes biome, which is one of the coolest and most unique biomes that Mojang has ever put into this game. Just look at how ridiculously amazing this biome is. It just so alien, so different. I absolutely love it. But let's run over there. Let's see if there's anything of value in that. And I think this is probably going to be our last waystone here, because I am running out of trapdoors. As you can see, we only have 4, and it takes 4 to create one of these waystones. Now, I could go ahead and cut down these spruce trees and make some more spruce trapdoors, but I think at this point we'll probably go check out that mountain. But this is really all we wanted to see that was out east, you know, out this way. Wow, ton of flint and some gold. That's a lot of flint. It's taken almost all of my hunger and a fall to get up here, but what a view. What an absolutely spectacular view. The new mountains, I can't get enough of them. And wait, there's more. Just wow. And you've got more peaks coming out in here in the background, right? And then once we get a little bit closer, ooh, and not fall into a ravine. I thought there was another one that comes in between these two big mountains, the one close to us and the one off to the left there. There it is. There it is. Goodness gracious me. We will absolutely one day have to go check that out. That is beautiful. And here's the coordinates just in case anybody wants them. I'm going to hit F2 and take a screenshot. That is beautiful. And while we're out here, there's a village down there. Let's go check it out. Well, we are back home. And yeah, we went exploring a little bit more. There was I went on the other side of that mountain. It was gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, and went to that village. There wasn't really anything between the mountain and the village. We saw, you know, pretty much the same typical things we saw from the other village, except there were some new villager blocks, like the lectern, which we promptly grabbed, bookcases, so we got a bunch of books, which is going to help us with our enchanting setup. There was a grindstone, which we'll get into when we do enchanting, and more books, more libraries, etc., etc. And it wasn't the safest village in the world. And actually, I went up on top of one of the houses, and there was a plains village in the distance. But I don't really have time to go check that out, unfortunately, in this episode. So what do we do now? Well, I would like to keep exploring. It's going to take me a very long time to explore each cardinal direction, right? And we went, golly, how far did we go? Almost 2,000 blocks that way, so I think I'll probably go 2,000 blocks in each direction. I might not do it today, to be honest. I might do another one today and maybe another one tomorrow. I'm not really sure. We just went east, I believe. Yes, so maybe we pick west, we go that way and just see what's on the other side of that mountain there. And go from there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. And exploring we have done, as you can see with this sword that we've got in our hand and this pickaxe that we've got right here and also this spyglass that I'm holding. I've had 2 streams since I last recorded, and on those streams we went exploring. And Stream has this great thing where they just make me jump into caves every now and then by using some points that they redeem. Or bits that they throw at me, excuse me. And we jumped into this massive, massive cave, and we saw a lot of cool things. First of all, on the other side of that mountain behind us is another village. But once we got into that cave, one of the first things that we saw was a geode. All right, now geodes are interesting things that only spawn underground. So it's, I believe, anywhere between Y-64 and Y30 that you will see a geode. So if you go caving enough, you'll find them. Now, they're encased in smooth basalt, calcite, and then amethyst. And amethyst is how you get this spyglass. It's 2 pieces of copper with an amethyst shard up at the top, and you need copper ingots. So that copper we keep finding, you're going to have to melt down. And then you put those in a crafting bench, 2 pieces of copper on the bottom, and then an amethyst shard on the top. And when you hold it in your hand, you right click, you can zoom right in on stuff. It's pretty stinking awesome. I'm not sure if Bedrock players can do this, but if you don't like this weird, like, kind of only box look that you've got, if you hit the F1 key on your keyboard, you Java players, it's going to shut off your GUI, your graphical interface, right? You can still see everything, it's just your hotbar and everything's gone. Don't worry, hit F1 again, you can turn it back on. But as you're zoomed in, you'll be zoomed in with the entire screen, right? Which is really, really cool. But after the geode, we kept going and kept going and kept going, and finally, after so many mobs, we found diamonds, our first diamonds, and I promptly made myself a sword and a pickaxe, and yeah, it was a huge accomplishment getting your first diamonds, and I actually, in that cave, found, I think, 11 more. Let's go check the storage chest. Look at that, 11 more, and we have a ton of resources just from going out and finding stuff. Now, in a whole nother stream, we went a different way. We went up here, and I kept using the waystones, the beacons. As you can see, we have one here. Camp is right behind this little ridge here. I was getting a little smarter with them. I was like, why am I going to put a beacon all the way over where I can see it at camp when I should be putting it on this side? And the next one is way over there on the other side of this huge valley. We went a couple thousand blocks over that way, and we found ourselves a dark forest, which is really what we were looking for anyways, because I wanted to get dark oak. I needed that new wood type for our quote-unquote forever base. Camp is just our starter base. We'll have a forever build. And I think I found a spot over on the other side of this mountain. We have to go check out the mountain over there. But Stream Chat did what Stream Chat does, and they made me go into a giant hole that we found, and in there we found a whole bunch of mobs and more resources and a dungeon. Now, dungeons, also known as spawners, can spawn anywhere in the overworld as long as they're next to a cave, right? And what they have is some loot chests, and also, as you can see, that like monster spawner cage. Now, the dungeon that we found is a spider spawner. What we can do is we can dig out a whole bunch of room around that dungeon and have the spiders drop down into some water and then go into a chamber where we can just stand there AFK and swipe our sword at them and get all sorts of drops and experience. But we're going to go over experience gaining in the next episode. Now, a surefire way to find a dungeon is if you see cobblestone anywhere underground or anywhere over in the overworld that you haven't placed, it's probably a dungeon. There are some bits of cobblestone that will be placed, mossy cobblestone to be precise, in mega taigas. But if you find regular cobblestone that you haven't placed and it's not in a village, you can almost be sure that that is a dungeon. or a spawner. But anyways, folks, that is it for me today. We've seen a lot in this episode. The next episode, we're gonna go over how to start farming levels. Now we have 39 levels, and that's good, but we're gonna need a lot more if we're gonna keep getting diamonds like this. We need to enchant our gear, and we're gonna go over a couple of great ways to start farming experience early in your game. All right, but until then, make sure you like the video, subscribe please as well, because you want to keep up to date with our crazy shenanigans. Follow us on Twitter, on Twitch, all of that stuff, and we'll see y'all soon. Thanks again. Bye.